Okay, let's say we had a quadratic equation like x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, well, we know how to solve that. This one works. You could solve it by factoring, and life would be great. You'd get wonderful solutions. Okay, but now what we're going to have is something, let's say we didn't have an x. Let's say we had an orange triangle squared plus 5, and then this was an orange triangle plus 6. Okay, let me put parentheses around that. Equals 0. Well, it looks very much the same, right? Except the x is an orange triangle. What we're going to do when that happens is we're going to say this is in quadratic form. It's in the form of a quadratic equation, okay? And that orange triangle could be anything. It could be binomial, it could be a radical, it could be just anything. And we'll see some examples here. How we're going to solve this is we're going to do what's called a U, as in the letter U, substitution. Substitution. Okay, what you do is you take whatever that orange triangle is. Usually I think it's easiest to tell students just pick it out of the middle term. So we're going to say orange triangle. Now, I'll write it this way. U equals orange triangle. And then what happens is you get to replace the orange triangle with the letter U. So then you have U squared plus 5U plus 6 equals 0. This factors. Okay. And so we get two solutions, right? We get U could be -2 and U could be -3. Okay. Now, my made-up example here with the orange triangle, I'm going to stop right there. But you have to go back and solve for the variable, which is usually x on these. Solve for variable. And I'll show you how to do that, okay? But that's the idea of what's called the U substitution. You have something in a quadratic form. It looks like a quadratic equation. And so you're going to replace the middle term with U. Okay, so I'll give you an example. This is quadratic in form. So you have x squared squared, that's x to the 4th power, minus 8x squared minus 9 equals 0. So my orange triangle is like right there. I don't know, do you see it? Okay, so I got to stop using the orange triangle. But we're going to say U is equal to x squared. It goes by this middle term. Okay, if it's going to be quadratic in form. You have to check and make sure that this first term is the x squared squared, like that fits the form. Okay, but it does. So I'm going to replace the x squared with U. We call this a U substitution. It'll get a little easier. I'll give you some more examples. 9 times out of 10, these factor. They don't have to, I guess, but they usually factor. Okay. Yep, that's how it factors. So I get two solutions. U equals 9 or -1. What I have to do, though, now is I have to go back here to what the U substitution is, because I need to solve for x, not U. I mean, I get U first, and now I have to solve for x. So let's look at the 9. We're saying U could be 9. So I have 9 equals x squared. Well, that's a quadratic equation. I can just take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. It's that case. Okay, so I get x equals plus or minus 3. All right, that's two answers. Now I have to look at the -1. So if U equals x squared, I would rather write it x squared equals U, and I almost did that, but I forgot. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the -1 for U. X squared equals -1. Well, can I solve that equation? Yes. I can take the square root of both sides, just like we did on the last one. Don't forget the plus or minus. Okay, And so what do I get? X equals plus or minus. What's the square root of negative 1? Hopefully you said I. So I have 4 solutions. I have negative 3 as a solution, positive 3 as a solution, and then I have negative I as a solution and I as a solution. Those are the solutions. Okay. Now you might be wondering about checking them. Of course you could check them. I did not square both sides. I did not raise both sides to a power, so I don't have to check them. An even